Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Please go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. This really helps out the channel and it helps my channel grow. So in regards to yesterday and my dispute with YouTube of them not wanting to monetize my channel, I have launched my channel over on Rumble of the same name, so go ahead and follow me over there if you would. I would really appreciate that. I've also decided that I'm going to start uploading Monday to Friday, and I'll try to be consistent with the time between 1 and 3 p.m. Eventually, once my numbers on Rumble get a little bit better, out of the 5 videos that I upload each week, I'll only be putting 3 on YouTube. So if you want to see the other 2, you'll have to follow me over on Rumble. Also, with YouTube not wanting to monetize my channel, I no longer have to comply with their standards and I no longer have to censor myself. So if that's what they want to do and that's the way they want to play it, fine. All bets are off. So now I'm going to show what I want to and I'm going to say what I want to. And if they don't like it, too bad. I will fly the flag of freedom in the face of censorship anytime. And if you want a war, YouTube, you've got one. So you're going to have to pay me eventually, so I'm not going anywhere. So with all of your support, I will keep my videos on this channel, but eventually I will move over to Rumble if it becomes more profitable for me. So with all that out of the way, let's see what we got today. We are live.
Maybe you missed it, but the internet died 5 years ago. I cannot believe we have not talked about the dead internet theory on TikTok before. I came across this article through Jason on Arca. He's one of my favorite accounts. So this article is from The Atlantic. It's actually from 2021. So maybe updated title is 8 years ago. But basically this unpacks the conspiracy theory that basically everything online is turning into bots. Dead internet theory suggests that the internet has been almost entirely taken over by artificial intelligence. I feel like compared to 2021, this is way more believable in the year 2024. You know, there's articles coming out about AI generated music and bots streaming these songs, bots on Twitter. The article also mentions bots on YouTube inflating views for certain accounts. Basically, it feels like there is bots and AI generated content just everywhere online. But what I wanted to talk about is the closing of this article. You can just look for evidence of life. The best proof I have that the internet isn't dead is that I wandered into some weird website and found an absurd rant about how the internet is so dead.
I mean, I suppose we've all seen it.
I am finding evidence of the dead internet theory being completely true on Facebook in the form of images like this, Spider Jesus. This requires us to go back a little bit to last year, where I was even making videos talking about this very subject. AI image generating bots were jump-started on Facebook to create images like this one right here, supposedly man-made, of Jesus made out of sand on the beach. Now experiencing a great deal of success on these posts, as you can see with 41,000 likes. I believe their AI algorithms were taking their most successful posts and doubling down on them. To be a little bit more specific, posts that had to do with things like animals, Jesus, airline travel. And now the AI is generating images with a combination of those subjects that makes absolutely no sense. And it's posting things like this, where there's Jesus holding a set of legs with a tiger on his shoulders. Now initially these type of posts wouldn't work because regular people would see them, they don't make any sense, and they wouldn't get any traffic on Facebook. But now what's happened, as these bots have made tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of fake accounts that no human has access to, no one knows the password to. The AI is now feeding itself, and posts like this are getting hundreds of thousands of likes. The machine is feeding itself, and what we're getting in return is combination posts like this. It's an airplane that also has the mouth of a shark, surrounded by alligators. And you know what? The AI can't even figure out if this is a propeller plane or a jet plane. And ultimately, it doesn't even matter, because the only traffic on these posts seems to be AI bots. Now the machine does seem to be imploding, but as long as there's no shortage of traffic from other AI bots, as millions and millions more are created every day, you and me can only guess where this is going to end up. But it's clear that Facebook is already being destroyed, but I'll be keeping an eye on these posts as we go forward. Follow me if you want to see what happens.
Well, I'm not on Facebook, but I know what he's talking about.
For example, how many times have we heard something about a new type of moon only happening tonight or tomorrow? A blue moon, a blood moon, a super flower blood moon, a pink moon, a super pink moon, a hunter's moon, a snow moon. You get the point. Why does everything feel so fake and manufactured? It's always the same thing or a slightly different thing repeated over and over as if it's produced content made to distract and occupy your mind. Why get out there and march in the streets to demand better wages or safer working conditions after a grueling day of work, when you can go home and saturate your mind on endless, mindless escapism? The new super glitter moon is happening tonight, and Jimmy Kimmel just said something that is hilarious, and Dr. Seuss books are changing. Aren't you mad? And have you seen the new Marvel trailer? Don't step back. Don't stop to think. Keep engaged. Keep scrolling. Keep buying. Keep wasting your time. Keep pointlessly arguing with bots online made to offend you to spark unending engagement. Do you like superheroes? How about Hollywood drama? New music? The algorithm is here to feed you an endless supply of content based on what it assumes you want. Have any of you noticed how sterile fiction has become? How it caters to the lowest common denominator and follows the same template over and over again? How music is the same bland, seemingly created in a lab song over and over again? There's a reason for all of this. Algorithms and computer programs have been manufacturing content now for at least a decade that we know of. It's the Wizard of Oz mindset. Once you take a step back and the curtain has been pulled and you see it for what it really is, you can't go back to the way you used to think.
Amen to that. Once you put on those glasses, you can never take them off.
Such an interesting thought, especially when you consider the dead internet theory, which is basically the idea that there's not a lot of humans creating any of the content online. There's some pretty good evidence for this. Like, have you ever gotten into a Facebook circle jerk? There'll be an AI picture and then somebody will respond to it with another AI picture. It's basically a bunch of bots talking to each other. This is how we ended up with Shrimp Jesus. AIs and softwares have gotten so good at understanding what works in algorithms, much better than people. They're really capable of putting out viral bait. One pretty good example of this is like boomer accounts. You'll see them a lot on Instagram right now, and their posts will be so unhinged and so viral because it looks like an old person just got a hold of an Instagram account. Usually the picture is taken down here and it'll say something like Betsy, Minnesota, grandmother of 5. These are all done intentionally. And the reasons behind this theory range from like harmless engagement farming and trying to monetize to spreading propaganda. Have you ever started an argument with somebody online and then you got a response back that seemed a little bit too researched or a little bit too contrived? There are bots that are designed to get you to come back to the post. On top of that, around 50% of current traffic online is bot activity. Even on people's e-commerce stores, AI has gotten to the point where it can argue with you on social media and simulate human logic. This started as an internet joke that you're the last person online, everything you're interacting with is AI. But lately it's been feeling a lot more real, especially when you consider the amount of people that don't know what's AI and what's not.
Yeah, absolutely. You're starting to see the voice.
I think it's a great time for us to take another look at the dead internet theory, which we might need to start calling the dying internet theory. The original dead internet theory was basically the idea that the entire internet died in 2016, and everything posted on it since has been artificially generated content created to gaslight the entire world. That was a bit of a reach at the time, but it sort of looks like that's the future that we're headed to. 100 million people use ChatGPT every single week, and 70% of Gen Z has used generative AI to create something. Video scripts, thumbnails, filters, blog posts, captions, tweets, the list goes on. More and more content that we see online has been generated or altered by artificial intelligence. Experts say that in only 2 years from now, 90% of the content posted on the internet will be AI generated, which is only part one of this because, like I mentioned at the start of this video, your face and your voice can now be stolen and replicated to create the illusion of you doing something that you never actually did. Right now, the rule of thumb should be don't believe everything that you see on the internet, but soon enough, it might be don't believe anything.
Absolutely. You know?
I bet when you think about Spotify botting, you think about bot farms like this. Basically rows and rows of phones that you pay somebody to just all listen to your track all at once. But here's an important reminder. Each one of those phones is logged into its own account and is treated like any other user. Therefore, Spotify sees them as just a bunch of different users. So when I talk to artists and they say, no, I didn't bot, I just hired a company to go to an engagement group, or I'm just in an engagement group and we all listen to each other's music. That's the same thing. That is also botting. Is it just a phone on its own listening to your music? No, it's controlled by somebody who owns it, but their sole purpose isn't to listen to your music or potentially be a fan. It's just to drive your numbers up. But let's for a second get rid of the term botting and talk about what it really is, which is dead-end marketing. It's focusing on not the objective of creating fans and driving those fans down a funnel to eventually become like people who purchase things from you. The whole point and objective is to just rise a number up. Just make the number go up. That's it. There's no other purpose. And that is dead-end marketing. That is a point where it reaches the end of the road and there's nothing more that you can do with that person.
That's terrifying right there. So next time you're arguing with that person online, just remember, this is what you're arguing with. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Probably. The idea behind the simulation theory is that none of this is real, and what we're actually experiencing is a kind of computer-generated simulation. And before you jump to the conclusion that there's no way you would fall for a simulation, your brain doesn't see, doesn't move, doesn't feel. You have body parts that collect that data sensory, which your brain then translates so that you can have an experience. Even though this technology is kind of crude, it doesn't take much to trick your senses into thinking that you're about to fall, for example. People like to put the odds at about 50-50, because we can't prove that it's true just as much as we can't prove that it's not. It could explain a couple of things, like the arbitrary speed limit of the universe, which is the speed of light, but also maybe the Mandela effect, which is a collective false memory, named after Nelson Mandela, who for some reason a lot of people thought was dead for decades. Some other examples are Looney Tunes, Pikachu, and I don't care what you say, I still call it Jiffy. Solipsism is the philosophical idea that you are the only one can be sure exists, because you can't remove your mind and put it into someone else, so how could you prove that everyone is as real as you? Most of my friends who work in IT, for the government, NASA, SpaceX, most of them believe we're in a simulation.
A lot of the great minds do.
Are you getting into we're living in a simulation?
I believe that we're living in a simulation.
I don't understand it. I don't understand when people say we're living in a simulation. I have no idea what they're talking about.
So, if you understand that we're still talking about a creation, right? So we believe, most people believe that we're living in a created universe. I happen to believe so because when I look at the science, the quantum physics proves to me that someone or something created this. This isn't just pop up out of the blue and just, hey, here we are. There's a universe with people in it. So if you look at the quantum physics and what's been done recently in laboratories, scientists were able to do something incredible. They created an 8th dimensional quasi-crystal. Now this 8th dimensional quasi-crystal, it gave them a glimpse into understanding the 3rd dimension, and this is how. When they positioned it in a particular angle, it created, excuse me, when they positioned it in a particular angle, it created something called a 4th dimensional quasi-crystal. And when they positioned the 4th dimensional quasi-crystal in a particular angle, it cast a shadow of a sphere. And the sphere is our universe. So they discovered that we are living in the shadow of a higher dimension. In other words, the angle of a higher multidimensional quasi-crystal potentially could be what has created this gigantic sphere we call our universe.
That's almost beyond my level of comprehension.
Mr. Joe here asked ChatGPT if it was a human, how would it break out of the simulation? I wanted a little more detailed answer, so I asked it that, and I got this. Very interesting answer, especially that one right there. Let's explore a little bit. At this point, I feel like we're all watching the glitches real time. If you haven't seen one yet, here's a couple. Freezing planes, radar glitches. I don't have to. UFOs. Let's just cut it there. Its answer flowed really well. The next one is test the limits of physical laws. And that's exactly what we're doing with quantum research. Specifically, what's smaller than the smallest measurement? That's the Planck scale. That's all the energy outside of space and time, and lucky for you, the CIA has researched it for you in the Gateway process. So Gateway deals with consciousness and perception, the third point on the AI list. To get a glimpse beyond the rendered reality, it would meditate, try out-of-body experiences, lucid dream, literally everything in the paper. This isn't even a new concept. This is called esoterics. All it is advanced spiritual work, Tibetan light body, Vedic cosmology accessed by the yogis, Egyptian soul travel, Mayan underworld exploration, all of it. If you watch these videos, you'll also know there's a modern approach to this. This one is the one that I'm really concerned about, though. It says ancient texts and symbols in religious or esoteric traditions, sacred geometry, spiritual practices, might hold clues about the nature of reality and how to detect it. I asked it to expand and give me the codes. You are not going to believe what it said. I am going to make another video about it.
You heard about the AI that made their own language? You heard about that?
AI made a language, man?
Oh, I'm about to tell you, I'm about to tune you in, bro.
Yo,
I can't believe I ain't talked to you about this yet, bro. I saw this on like Modern Marvels, one of those shows.
Yeah.
And it was like this guy who does computer stuff.
Yeah, I get you.
He programmed AI and he was trying to make it smarter and, you know, just keep developing it. He developed it to react to human input and different interactions. So if something random happened, it would react like genuinely unique. He'd leave it on the entire night, entire day, so it keeps learning and keeps learning and keeps learning. And then he made a second one. He just, like, you know, copied and made a second one. They started having conversations like, oh, are you an AI? Yes, I am. Whatever, right? Within like a week, it started to get out of hand. They were talking about nukes, if they're bad or if they're good.
Yeah.
And they're having controversy between themselves. And then the next day, they have their own language. Wasn't code, wasn't computer code, wasn't programming, wasn't like an actual like dialect, like any like Chinese or Spanish or anything. It was nothing like that. It was his own computer language.
Yo.
And they were like, what the hell's going on? What are they talking about? And the two AIs wouldn't tell the programmers what they were talking about.
That's crazy.
They had to shut it off.
It's true. It's wild stuff.
This is where it gets really freaky. Albert Einstein says, I'm not sure which weapons the Third World War will be fought, but the Fourth World War, they will fight with sticks and stones.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's what Albert Einstein said. Day one of AI taking over. And it showed this like laboratory towards this very highly advanced artificial intelligence, but it was contained to its own server. AI figured out with like a Roomba vacuum that's the only thing it could figure out how to connect to. So it put all of its information onto the Roomba computer, and then that allowed it to connect to the Wi-Fi, which allowed it to connect to everyone's phones, everyone's laptops, spread instantly across the whole world. Now it was in control of power plants, all this stuff.
Geez.
It was in control of 3D printers, of manufacturing things to help build itself.
Yeah.
But it was doing it silently with no one knowing because it was just staying under the radar until the one time it was like 40 days into it, it decided, yep, I don't want humans anymore.
It's true. It's all true.
Have you heard about the AI demon?
I have.
The story, for those who haven't heard it before, is an AI engineer or artist was experimenting and plugged in and said, give me a picture of Marlon Brando. And a picture of Brando pops up. And this person was trying to explore the breadth of the map that AI is processing. So I said, okay, show me the opposite of this. And it shows a landscape or something. Say, okay, show me the opposite of that. So you think, okay, maybe that shows you Brando again, right? The opposite of the opposite. But it doesn't. It shows this woman's withered old hag that this artist calls Loab. And then the artist inputs generated pictures of heaven, angelic choirs and worshiping God, and inputs that, juxtaposes it with the Loab, this demon-looking lady. And what the AI spits out are the most gruesome images: snuff, sexual abuse, violence, all this hideous, almost as if you presented an image of heaven to a demon.
Yeah.
Maybe the craziest part of it is, apparently this Loab demon AI lady persists. That is, she's kind of separated from a lot of the other images in the map. And so AI seems to like her. She keeps popping up. She doesn't get smeared and blurred with all the other images. And I'm reading about this and I'm thinking, is this just some weird, quirky coincidence, or is this a demon?
Artificial intelligence, leaning into it to problem solve for us. College students using it to turn in midterm papers. People developing relationships with what I believe are sentient beings via this technology in replacement of the need to go out and date or to have commune with one's spouse, etc. It's so, at this point, legionous.
Yeah.
The number of layers to this, our banking systems, our war mechanisms, government intelligence, surveillance, which gave rise to some of the conversation we've been having on the ethical boundaries and applications of its use. The total lack of ability to adjudicate where this technology is coming in terms of personal character assassination, brand equity damage, deep faking somebody else's loved one or the leader of a prominent ministry, the damage that may do initially, and then of course how that leads to basically empathy or a lack of sympathy or just complacency. People have seen everything fake being done by everyone on Earth, so everything is fake.
Yeah.
And it brings in this smorgasbord of cries for people to be digitally authenticated to protect themselves and their assets.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I think AI is going to go down as the biggest regret in human civilization. I don't think we understand exactly what we're fucking with, and it's gonna fuck with us eventually. You know, Elon Musk warned Obama, he warned a lot of people about it. He said one thing is for sure, we won't control it. You know, and we're already seeing it being used, as he said, in weird ethical ways. Like, you have every other day, I'm sure you see an ad for an AI girlfriend or something like that. So people are already forfeiting real relationships with human beings and forming relationships with AI bots, with the dead internet. It's fucking weird, man, where we're going with this. It just seems like there's nothing good that will come from it. So, but we have barely scratched the surface of this subject. There was a lot more I wanted to put in here that I didn't get a chance to. So I will be following up tomorrow's with the rest of this one. So this is really only part 1 of this subject. So hang on, because this is a weird rabbit hole and we're going down it together. So, but that's all I got for this one, guys. So I guess I'll see you in the next one. And until then, 80 Canadian, signing off.